So it's finally 2024 and the new Tesla Cybertruck has been released and put out to the masses of people who pre-ordered the crazy futuristic new technology truck that was supposed to sweep the nation with its ability to be a truck and be electric at the same time. But only after a few months there was an initial recall of the truck that, kind of shook the nation. And I think what was so different about this recall is that it wasn't just some of the trucks, it was literally every single Cybertruck. That's right, all 3,878 Cybertrucks got recalled over a faulty accelerator pad. And that got me thinking to myself, Elon is a dumbass. Now, this Cybertruck recall was super important because the accelerator panel would fall down and shift up underneath this plastic, making it full throttle at 100% speed, which could cause for some super untimely demises of people who were possibly driving the car. And you would have to think, well, what kind of car manufacturer would even put something out like that? But then you have to remember that Elon Musk was the one behind engineering this car 100% by himself. Now, a lot of people deem Elon Musk to be some super playboy genius billionaire who came from South Africa and became a main staple in American society. His name is synonymous with wealth, power, with the Jeff Bezoses, the Kanye West. But the whole time he's not really a genius at all. He's just a guy with a lot of money. And guys with a lot of money like to do one thing and one thing only: make a lot of promises and measure their dicks. Let's take when he bought Twitter, for example. Now, Twitter used to be a robust social media platform where a generation of people decided, hey, this is going to be where we get our news from. This is going to be the place where we congregate from. And Twitter had some very interesting dynamics about it. It was said that generally more smarter people congregate on Twitter and navigate the space as a community. It was a cult phenomenon like Facebook back in the day or MySpace before that. But when Elon Musk became a mainstay on Twitter and started purchasing shares and getting deeper and deeper into the Twitter rabbit hole, he got upset around the 2020 election about the way that the freedom of speech and, the way that the bots were navigating on Twitter. So he did like any other dickhead would do, and he said, hey, I'm gonna purchase this app and we're gonna MAGA. But this time we're gonna do MTGA, make Twitter great again.
You've owned X for a year now. What was it ultimately that led you to make the decision to do it?
I was worried about that it was having a corrosive effect on civilization. I think part of it is that's where it was located, which is downtown San Francisco. You've walked around downtown San Francisco, right near the ex-FKA Twitter headquarters. It's a zombie apocalypse. Now you have to say, well, what philosophy led to that outcome? And that philosophy was being piped to Earth, was effectively given an information technology weapon to propagate what is essentially a mind virus to the rest of Earth. And the outcome of that mind virus is very clear if you walk around the streets of downtown San Francisco. It is the end of civilization.
Is it shocking that more people don't understand how dangerous that is?
From the standpoint of some of the people who used to be at Twitter, the people are like, well, it's a big shift to the right. That is correct. It is a shift to the right because everything is to the right if you're far left. But how many far left people have actually been suspended or banned from Twitter, now X? Zero.
I don't even know if that's
true.
So
it's really just moved to the center.
A mastermind and saying a bunch of nothing and avoiding the real question. And so after months and months of some sort of CEO board member battle where he said he was going to buy it, reneged on it, but then Jack, the CEO of Twitter, somehow got him by the balls and said, oh, no, you promised. Elon Musk buys Twitter and he does some of the most controversial things in the world. He let the racists back on. That's right. We got racism back on Twitter. Go, racism, go. He also overhauled the verification system, removing legacy verifications and putting a paywall on them. He changed the branding to X instead of it being Twitter. And if you are a young man or even a young woman who's been on the internet before and you typed in X, the next thing that's going to pop up most likely is going to be pornography. So that was the most genius thing in the world. Not to mention that destroyed so much brand recognition within the Twitter sphere. And it's crazy because the community won't let that die because people still reference it as Twitter as opposed to X. It's amazing. Now, I will say he did bring in community notes, which has been a breath of fresh air to it, but he's also let a bunch of spam and bot accounts onto the platform. And there's a plethora of studies that shown there's been a recent uptick in the bots that do inhabit Twitter because now with the introduction of his monetization on the platform, it's a place for people to do nothing but engagement farm and get a bunch of clicks to drive traffic to the website, which bogs down the real information. Oh, and also he's introduced a new system to where new members will have to pay to use the platform. It's the most amazing thing in the world.
Do you believe that X and you have some responsibility to moderate hate speech on the platform?
I think we have a responsibility to adhere to the law. I think once you start going beyond the law, now you're putting your thumb on the scale.
It doesn't concern you that hate speech has gone. Research shows that it's gone up on the platform since you took over. That's not concerning to you?
I believe that is false. In fact, the research that I've seen says it went down.
The study from the Institute of Strategic Dialogue found that anti-Semitic tweets doubled from June 22 to February 2023. One study reported that as many as 86% of the posts reported for hateful content remained up after being reported.
What they will typically do is they will count the number of posts, but not count the number of views. So what matters is, was that post given high visibility, or what did like one person see it?
What?
And if you look at the number of views, how many times was hate content viewed on our platform? It is down substantially.
Now you would think with him backed into the corner, Elon Musk would just jump up off this hill and say, you know what, Don, we're looking into it, or some sort of other thing like this. But no, yeah, he dies on a hill after Don Lemon gives him further evidence as to how he destroyed what people decided was their place to be as an entire generation.
These are just a handful of extremely, you look at those anti-Semitic and racist tropes and tweets, and as of this morning, they're still on X. And from your own content policy, these posts should have been deleted. So why haven't they been deleted? Why are they still there?
We delete things if they are illegal.
But these have been up there for a while.
Are they illegal?
Love a good old redirect guy. What makes that so interesting is that Elon Musk is a self-admitted hypocrite because he says, Don, do you love censorship? But at the same time, Elon, you believe in censorship as well, especially if it's to you as a person or an individual with your business tactics. We can see times where people have targeted you on X, your platform, and you've censored them. So what makes that different? It's not violent. It's not illegal. They're just saying simple things about you. That's so strange to me. You can tell Elon Musk isn't smart because when he tries to attack certain talking points about different things, he changes the definitions to make them mean what he believes they mean, which really means that he changes definitions to make his point sound smarter while simultaneously ignoring the actual reality of what's being said.
So listen, let's talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion. You claim that DEI is killing people. Specifically, you point to medicine. You claim that DEI programs are putting people at risk. Do you really believe this to be true? And what evidence do you have to support it?
What I was referring to there was that if the test for a doctor is lowered, then the probability of them making a mistake and killing someone is obviously going to be higher.
What evidence do you have, though, that they're lowering the standards? There's no evidence of that.
I believe there is. I believe they have literally lowered the standards at Duke University, and that is what the article was referring to.
Well, I went ahead and I did some of the research to see if they lowered standards for doctors at Duke University. According to an article written from the Duke Chronicle, Duke School of Medicine denies lowering admission standards for DEI goals, as alleged by Ben Shapiro and Elon Musk. Duke Health released a statement Tuesday responding to recent allegations that the school of medicine had lowered its admission standards as a part of its DEI efforts. Now, mind you, this is a guy that influences a lot of people. You would think that he would know certain things before he comes on different platforms, but he doesn't. He's a liar. Another example of Elon Musk being an idiot is when asked about trans rights and what the definition of woke is, he decides to just make things up, which seems to be his norm. But as many people would see him as a genius, they would take his word for gospel.
You have been deeply outspoken about the issue of trans rights. You posted that pronouns in bio mean the woke mind virus ate your brain. Do you know what the term woke actually means?
It's come to mean a lot of things.
It's just being aware of inequities in society and being aware of facts and history.
And if that wasn't bad enough, Elon Musk has a treasure trove of lies and hyperboles and honestly fantasies of the things that he could do with his genius brain and his maximum amount of money. He paints himself to be this modern day Bruce Wayne, but to be honest with you, a lot of the stuff that he spits on the microphone does not come to fruition. Let's take the Hyperloop, for example. The Hyperloop was some tunnel system, public transportation that he said would come to LA. It would take you from LA to San Francisco in about 35 minutes. Which would free up a lot of the congestion on the highways. Hey, W idea. Now he really laid it out, gave it some thought, proposed it to a lot of people, and promised that it was coming. But when the rubber was supposed to meet the road, it came out that honestly he put out that story or that proposal in order to kill this new high-speed rail transit that was coming to California, which would ultimately hurt the sales of his Tesla company. God, what a clown. Then let's not forget the introduction of SpaceX. SpaceX was supposed to be this big exploration into space with the amount of money and fame and fortune and knowledge that Elon Musk had that would put humans on Mars in the near future. In 2011, Elon Musk said that he could put somebody on Mars, actually a couple of somebodies on Mars, and start a human colony on the planet to see if there was another planet that could inhabit human life. And he kept outlining plans in 2017 and then 2022, but to be honest with you, there's been no real progress made because he's a liar. He's a narcissist. He's Elon Musk. And then let's not forget about the infamous promises to fight Mark Zuckerberg in a cage match that saw Mark Zuckerberg get jacked beyond belief and then go and try to fight him. Elon for sure backed out of those things. It's crazy. Look, Elon Musk is somebody who read a bunch of comic books and thought he could be the next Bruce Wayne in America. He's not some genius innovator. He's not some brilliant inventor. His father owned some ruby mines down in like South Africa or something like that, and then he moved to America, bought a company, and painted himself as this really intelligent guy, but it was somebody else's patents that got Tesla off the ground. All he's done is put his name on other people's work and turned it in and made himself seem smarter. And when tasked with putting out his own products, they've seemingly failed time and time again. And he's ruining the public perception of some of the companies that already had good names in grand standing. Soon, if they start putting all these paywalls on Twitter for new users in order to recoup some of the losses that he made when he first purchased the platform, I'm sure they'll see a decrease in not only new users, but also old users because the bots are taking over. And he claimed that he was gonna put out a fleet of new cars, including the Cybertruck, which saw a massive recall. And then he was also supposed to put out a Roadster. But to be honest with you, I would not get behind the wheel of anything that man has made in my lifetime. At the end of the day, he sounds smart to stupid people. Let me know what you guys think about Elon Musk, man. I know a lot of people idolize the guy, but he's nothing but a baby with a lot of money to me.